Pieces is a newer song that came out just within the past year time frame. I'm not gonna say, I think, yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
So it came out then. Uh and I chose, actually I chose Pieces because of him. So I
Mhm.
if you follow him on Instagram or whatever, he encourages people to like text him through whatever app, I forget what it's called. And I did that, geez, like last year. And like since then, I was just like, he shoots out texts, I send him random stuff. He responds, which is cool. And so for our podcast, I asked him, which one of his songs that he felt relates most to mental health topics and all of that. And he said all of his songs do,
Mhm.
but that pieces the most. Like that's the song that for him that he's done relates most to mental health. I didn't ask him too much about it right away. I just was like, I love that song. So I want to try to interpret it on my own first. So I did. So for me, like listening to it, you can feel the intensity, like you can feel like you are, it almost feels like you're right on the edge with him.
Mhm.
And like right there on the edge of just like this mental breakdown or explosion of just emotion, like right there, like right on the line. And the lyrics, I mean, it's the very first line: taking apart all your limbs till there's nothing left but pieces. Tell me you know what you're doing, that you know how to fix this. So for me, I guess as a counselor, it's just, we use this word called compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
Matt, you help me out here if I'm explaining this in the wrong way. But like when someone experiences some sort of trauma, sometimes we kind of box it up. We kind of like, we compartmentalize it, like box it up, like, and that's what I'm thinking of. He's like taking apart all of your limbs so there's nothing but pieces. Like these things have happened to him in his life, will continue to happen. Any type of trauma, like pain, it's like box it up,
Mhm.
like take it, cut it off,
Yeah.
and like you try to keep going. But he's like saying till there's nothing left with just pieces of him. And the song, to me, it kind of seems like he's like talking to himself, like even telling himself, like, tell me you know what you're doing, you know how to fix this, like telling himself, like, we can fix this, like, I'm, yes, right now, to keep going, to move forward, we have to box things up and we have to keep going, but we can fix this, right? Like,
Yeah.
we can. And then the next line, like, careful, you're wasting away and now everyone's suspicious, paying the price of the pain, now there's nothing left but pieces. So also having that recognition, though, that like as you're doing this, like, are you really, well, first of all, there's like some sort of paranoia in that line. Like, just like people can see what I'm doing, people know that I'm not whole,
Mhm.
and like being fearful of that,
Yeah.
like people can see this. And even the next line goes along with kind of like that paranoia. Well, I hope you know that they're talking about us, and I hope you know that it's too much. Like, this is too much. And that's that, like, on the line, like almost ready to break down. And then he goes into his chorus, like, out of the deep and into the hurt, this is the way it always works. You're moving your lips, but I don't hear the words. I couldn't be much sorrier.
Yeah.
That line kills me every single time I hear this song. It kills me. For like that line, I feel like the rest of the song, I feel like he's kind of he's talking to himself, but that line, I feel like he's talking to somebody, like reaching out for help, like, and that could be anybody, like friends, family. He could even be talking to one of us, Matt,
Yeah.
counselor,
Yeah.
but just talking to somebody, and like just like you're moving your lips, but I don't hear the words, and he, it's like it's it's hurting him that he can't, that people are trying to help him, people are trying to reach out, it could be the people that love him and care about him. And like, I mean, I've seen that before as a counselor, and I'm sure you have too, like when you're trying to help people and like they want the help, like they're
Mhm.
there, they want the help, they're coming to the sessions, they're they're talking, but it's like they're just they just can't take it in yet.
Yeah.
There's
No
just
way.
too much pain and hurt and trauma.
Yeah.
And it's like they want it so bad. Like they want to get better. They want the help. But it's like I've had people tell me in sessions like sorry before, like so that I don't know, like this song is just like it's pretty emotional for me. It's emotional for him. In the music video he just released this week, it starts off with him like almost like underwater, but like he's like far away from a car and like the car's like coming towards him. As the song goes on, it like kind of goes sort of like a flashback or whatever where he's driving the vehicle. It's all happening like underwater.
Yeah.
He's driving the vehicle, and then as the song gets more intense, then all of a sudden he's in the passenger seat, and then he's like in the back, then he's like floating above it, then he's out of it. And that reminds me of okay, is it acceptance commitment therapy? I think it's ACT. I think it's ACT where we talk about this concept of like monsters on the bus. It's usually for like little kids, but I use it for adults too.
Yeah.
Where it's like you've experienced trauma, you've had some sort of trauma. It's gonna be with you. It's always gonna be with you. Is it gonna be?
Why you shouldn't tell the listeners that's just gonna throw them away from coming to therapy.
Let me continue. Okay, so either well, everyone knows it's just not gonna like be like it never happened. Like it happened. So anyway, it's either controlling your life, the monsters, your trauma, whatever. They're driving the vehicle, they're driving the bus, they're in control. You're just a passenger, or through work, through therapy, through counseling, whatever helps you get through it. Hopefully, counseling, getting to the place where you're the one driving. They're just passengers. They're quiet. They're compliant. They're at the back of the bus. They're not making any noise. You are in control. Yeah, they're there, but it's not causing chaos in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And like the song, and like I said, even the music video, it just showed me that, like, it just made me think of that analogy where it's like he starts out driving and then at the end the car's chasing him.
Yeah.
Like how out of control like it can get, like when you're so deep into just the pain, like how he talks about it. And so I don't know. I feel like I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I'm totally right about this analysis. I feel like I'm close. I did ask him, or I think I showed you, Matt, the text. Obviously, the listeners don't know, but I sent him a text that said that to me, like I felt like the song was embracing pain, chaos, darkness, anxiety, but at the same time, like trying to reach out to help and like wanting help. He responded. He said, "Thank you so much. It's like you absolutely nailed it." I don't know if he was just being nice. He could just be being nice, like you nailed it. But I don't know. I feel like if I was way off, he probably would have just been like, he would have just sent me like a smiley emoji or something. Just like
that's
a little heart.
That's the thing I love about doing this show, because it's not even necessarily like a right or wrong. We may never know specifically, like, yeah, this is what the artist intended, but music is subjective. Like that's what this is all for. Like they created hopefully for us to be able to enjoy and interpret in our own ways. And yeah, sometimes we can be wrong, and then they can go, damn, what if I did mean that? And I was gonna say, like, what if you inspired him to make the music video?
No, the music video came out this week. I just texted him last
week. Text him.
You're mad. You're like, oh, make it really fast. No. No, but I felt like the music video, like when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's like, oh, it just fits in with that analogy like so well that I'm like, I know that I'm at least close, like on the right path. I would hope after I've been counseling for it's almost 8 years now. I would hope that I'm like at least be like in the right realm. It's easier when you're actually talking to the person, because then they can tell you if you're on the right path.
Yeah.
But hey, Matt, maybe someday, maybe he would, give us a call in or something. That would be so cool. But
we shall see. Good things come to those who wait.
Yeah, I think we would just have to like bribe him with pizza or something. He loves pizza.
I can't eat pizza right now.
But what were your thoughts on this song?
I think I mentioned this in the last episode. Can't remember. The distortion at the beginning of this song. Again, Distortion sometimes throws me off just because it's like, oh man, what's going on? Where am I headed? Why is it feeling so staticky? And in this song, there's a reason for that. The way I kind of interpreted this song or analyzed this song was somewhat literal, more so from the frame of me being a therapist and working with like a new client that happens to come into the office. So the distortion to me just felt as if like whatever this person is going through, things are very muddled. It's crazy. Like things are going off rapidly in this person's life, and they have no awareness about how things got to this point. And that's something that often happens when we do the work that we do. Sometimes people are coming in and they don't know exactly how things got to the certain point that led them into counseling. And sometimes they don't even know like what was the like precipitating event that said, you know what, I need to actually seek somebody out. So I can get the sense that he is very lost in this process and trying to really understand what the heck is going on. In the song itself, with how he talks about trying to separate himself piece by piece by piece, the word that came to mind for me was deconstruction. Like with all of the anxiety and the trauma and the stress that he's been going through, in his mind, he feels as if I can just deconstruct the person that I am into, like you were saying, Anna, these different boxes that I can compartmentalize, then maybe I'll be able to understand things a bit more. And that is kind of like the process of what we do. We do try to take certain pieces of things that people have gone through and put them not necessarily into boxes, but pull them out of the boxes that sometimes we ourselves put them in. So we can look at them. I'm holding up my phone for the viewers, but also the listeners so you can know what I'm doing. This is the phone. You look at the phone, you see the phone, you can notice the phone, but do you actually accept the phone as it is? The phone being that, hey, sometimes it might represent constant text messages or phone calls that you may or may not want, emails, notifications, all the things that sometimes make us feel really anxious about having a phone. We're going to take a look at it and notice that the phone itself is not bad. It's just all the things that come through this phone bring you this response that you don't like. However, if you are not working with therapists, it's hard to do that. So in this deconstruction, he's trying to observe all these different moving pieces, but he's also unsure who is really calling for it, or at least I was, because in as far as how I was listening to the song, I wasn't sure if he was doing this of his own volition or if something had happened that triggered this deconstruction, if you will, to kind of look at these pieces and go, what the heck has happened? How did I get to this point? And it also helped me to notice that there's a lot of distrust in this process of deconstruction, of compartmentalizing. Yeah, I can put these things in these different boxes and separate them, and things will potentially be okay. But just because we put these things in the boxes don't mean that we have control over when they come out. And going back to the metaphor that you used earlier, just because I have the wheel of the bus doesn't mean that these monsters that are riding as passengers can just knock me unconscious and take control and then drive things all over really crazily. So as we get deeper into the song, I noticed that a lot of the lyrics started to kind of portray this reactive defensive stance because, again, there is this loss of control. These changes that are happening in this person's life are becoming more apparent, i.e., the waning mental health. And even though people necessarily aren't aware of what's going on, they are noticing. And it may not even be like very drastic measures. Like it may not be somebody who's engaging in self-harm or who is drinking a lot or is smoking a lot. It could be that they're noticing that he's not showing up to his appointments on time. He's not reaching out as often as he once does or as often as she does. They're not often taking care of any responsibilities. These subtle changes are starting to, I guess, become more magnified. And while it may not be things that other people are kind of noticing and going, huh, that's really bad, he's personalizing it or she's personalized it to that point where it's like, no, 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 you don't understand. This is bad. This is not me. I've been able to keep these things in these boxes for so long, and now they're starting to peak out. And even though other people can't discern to the gravity of which this is so ineffective, I can. And I can because this is all so raw. This is all so new. This is all so difficult. and I don't know how to maneuver this. I don't know how to manage this at all. That out of the deep into the hurt line also stuck out to me too, mostly because I myself know what it's like to, and I think we all do to some extent. We all know what it's like to struggle with a problem, an issue, sometimes involving like mental, emotional, or physical health, or like very lesser content, you know? And when I heard that line, out of the deep and into the hurt, what made me really gravitate towards it very cautiously at the same time, too, was that you can reconcile that the problem itself may have stopped, but the consequences and the effects of what has happened in the midst of that problem remains. You can find yourself getting into a fight with your partner, and the fight's over, but the things you said in that fight, they matter. And what you may have said may have damaged the relationship to the point where it's going to need a lot of consistent repair. And that repair doesn't necessarily even mean that things may work itself out, or rather, that is the concern that some people have, which connects to this song and also my song too, that the fragility of connections of life, of the things that we struggle with, it's so freaking crazy and so scary, but also kind of awesome too, because it's like, man, it's kind of like watching a 3-year-old play with like a Jenga set and take the wrong piece out, and then they start crying because everything just kind of like scrambled, and then like, I didn't mean to make this mistake, but everybody's like, it's a mistake. We all know that it doesn't mean anything. But when it comes to life, small things, as you grow older, they start to matter more and more. And you can't get people to say, oh no, pat on back, things will be okay. Sometimes it is not. And with this song itself, I remember I'm reading the text that I sent to you when we first started to talk about this. My initial impressions were, I think anxiety is on the surface based off of the description of the song itself. I think it's an all-encompassing song about what it's like to struggle with any mental health issue and the difficulty it takes to revisit the trauma of how they manifested and not being somewhat resistant in the process. You can deflect, become defensive, argumentative. However, the only way to move forward is to accept that this thing isn't something you can fight against. One of the other things that really stuck out to me again was the defense mechanisms that were kind of coming about. Like, I'm going to compartmentalize things. I'm going to isolate myself. I'm going to try and fix this on my own. I'm going to try and separate myself from people before I hurt them. Or wait, maybe they actually noticed that I hurt them. I'm going to try and rationalize the problem for what it is. All these things that we do to deflect from healing from the problem, as opposed to just learning how to sit with it, which again, completely understand, because it's a bit.
Yeah, it's like way easier said than done, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I have so many people that I've met that are like, they know exactly like that's what they need to do. It's just, they're just not ready, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like it's something that constantly comes up as an issue. Like, you can have a whole new problem or whole new difficulty in itself and still have trouble with realizing that, wait, I thought I learned how to sit with my emotions on this thing last time. I got to do it all over again for this whole new thing. I thought I mastered this. It's not that simple.
It's like, yeah, it's a continuous process, like a lifelong
Yeah.
process. Because issue, like, yeah, you know how to handle anxiety one day or depression one day doesn't mean that the next day you will. You know, it's constantly changing. Our job is just to try to give people tools or awareness. Yeah, tools and awareness.
That was the other part that I mentioned to you in our text. This song made me feel as if this is a song, yeah, about trauma, about anxiety, about stress, and how somebody's really trying to handle it on their own, but finding a lot of difficulty in doing so. And the reason why they are is because all the defense mechanisms that they were using, they're not working anymore. And now they have no replacement behaviors. Now they're just kind of stuck going like, fuck, I have to sit with this. Now imagine how
That's a good point too. Yeah, that is a good point too.
And if you've compartmentalized it for like 5-10 years, bitch.
That makes sense too, though, like with the pieces, because it's just like it's gonna affect more. It's like an infection.
Yeah.
You know, it's like spreading. So you're just like cutting off limbs,
And
then there's like nothing left because you're just, yeah.
Yeah, and that makes me sad because we are not infections. We're just humans that make mistakes. However, we can sometimes look at ourselves very negatively depending on our issues. Damn, man, that was good right there. That infection part, that hit. I feel shit.
We picked some good songs. I think we picked some good songs.
I promise next episode I'm picking something more happy. I'm tired of, Neo, the Do You song I was able to enjoy just because it was like, oh yeah, blast from the past. Seigfried, I'm like, damn, I thought 4 years later I would be good and be able to listen to this subjectively, and I was, but it still hits the feels.
Well, next episode we might be doing something new for our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
We got some plans in the works here.
Secret plans.
Secret plans, yeah. Secret plans. Just new things that we want to try on the journey.
I only said that because I didn't know if you wanted to share that.
Well, I think we've mentioned to the listeners before that we would eventually like to have artists on the show. So, we want to start with local artists, Chicago artists, and see where it goes. Mm-hmm. But I think it'll be fun. So
yeah. What's the name of our next segment? Because I forgot the name.
Oh, our new music Friday recommendations. Even though it's not really Friday. Friday is not even like a real thing. Friday is an idea. It's a new music Friday recommendations. Yay!
As you guys can see, we are not good with remembering the names of things. All right, you go first.
Okay, this is a little basic. Okay, Dominic Fike. Have you heard of him, Matt?
No.
Oh, well, he's pretty popular. Really gaining popularity. I saw like a little mini documentary about him. I think it was on Hulu. I watched it before I watched that one on Britney. The whole Save Britney thing.
I haven't watched
anyway, we're not gonna get into Save Britney, okay? Because you know what, Matt? This show is not gonna be about politics, and Save Britney is a whole thing that we just can't. I just cannot handle. So, but I saw the Dominic Fike mini documentary before that. Really interesting life. I love his music. It's crazy because like I've listened to a lot of his songs where sometimes I didn't even know it was the same artist.
Yeah.
So he changed up his style. He had a song that came out I believe it was this week, called Photo ID with Remy Wolf. I think I'm saying that right, Remy Wolf. Anyway, love that song. Fun song. Definitely highly suggest it. I also like his song Phone Numbers. That's an older song of his. I just really like it. I don't know more to say about it. I love that. And then, you know what, Matt? I'm just going to do it. I'm also going to recommend the song that I sent you, which I think is just called Fuck Boys by...
I haven't heard it yet.
Russ and... How do you say this? This is BLXST.
BLX Blast.
Blast? Is that...
That's what I would do, honestly.
Blast. Okay, we'll guess. Anyway, that's a new song that came out this week, and I love it. I just because it talks about he's just talking about like this woman that he has feelings for, and he's ranting about boys because he's like, well, they ruin things for everyone else. That's actually genuine people. And I feel the same way. I don't know what the equivalent of like the female version is.
You want me to share?
I don't know. Is there a term that matches?
Not necessarily. It's just the common vernacular that you often hear men or anybody use to disparage women.
Okay. Well, let's just assume that the listeners know what whatever the female equivalent of that term is. I'm using that word because that is the name of the song. Okay, so
no. Actually, I take that back. Thought, bop, bird.
What's a bop? Actually, don't tell me.
I don't. I'm 31, Anna. I know
what a thought is, though. I know what that is. So I know what that is. Anyway, we'll use thought.
No, let's go with Bird. Shout out to the other podcast I do. We're gonna use Bird.
Bird. Okay, I've never heard of that one either, but I'll use it. So when I was listening to this song, I was thinking about how I feel about other women that make things hard for the average person by making men think that women are completely insane when it's not. It's not true. It's not true, Matt. We're not all completely insane, and I don't like that or generalization or that we don't even need to go into gender stuff, but just like anybody who's dated somebody,
Yeah,
male or female, who has manipulated them and used them, and then now they somebody genuine comes along and they
made it harder.
yeah, they made it so much harder. So when you
Mhm.
listen to this song, you're like, you know what? I agree with you, sir. That I don't know how to say your name. I agree with you because it sucks. It sucks when other people make things hard for you because then you
Yeah,
have to make up for the mistakes of other people, things that you didn't even have anything to do with, and you're trying to be with somebody and they like have trust or have trouble trusting you because of stuff that you didn't even do. So that makes it's
yeah,
like so anyway, I like that song. So this song and Photo ID will be on Matt and I's Infinite Playlist,
yeah.
which is on Spotify. It's called what? Matt and Anna's Infinite Playlist. Yes.
Anna and Matt.
Anna and Matt's Infinite Playlist on Spotify. Those songs will be on there. And on to you, Matt. What do you got?
Well, it's fairly new. It came out like maybe 2, 3 weeks ago. I do enjoy the song. It's just by an artist who is extremely, how do I say this? Extremely immature. That's the best way I can put this. It's Zaza by rapper Tekashi 69. I like him because of his flow. It reminds me of Onyx, and I wasn't even like an Onyx fan back in the day when the duo came out, but this is what I imagine I would have been like if I were old enough to enjoy Onyx for what it is, and just like the vocals that this guy uses. His songs are very simplistic. I don't have to think deep. And again, I know I just said earlier that I love songs that make me think really deeply, existential, like life stuff. But sometimes I have to take my thinking cap off, realize I am a person who has a degree, a master's degree, who has his own place, who has his own car, who has a lot of stuff to attend to being an adult, and has realized, yeah, I need some mind numbing bullshit that I can just put on, listen to, and vibe with, or stuff I can just hit the gym with. And this is that song. The song itself, I enjoy just for what it is, as far as its intensity. The thing that really not bothers me about the song, but makes me cringe a bit is that he is just as blatantly reckless and disrespectful as he was before he went into prison, taunting all these different Chicago artists who talk about how they're gang affiliated and how they kind of want to kill him on sight for everything that he's doing. And it just makes me go, yeah, I enjoyed this song, but at the same time, you seem like you kind of have a death wish. So I don't really know how to take this, but again, I'm listening to this song to turn my brain off. I'm going to continue to have my brain off and not think about how maybe in a few months he may be in the headlines RIP status, like, which I truly do not hope happens. But this is the kind of self-destructiveness I've never seen before from an artist. So yeah.
But I mean, I agree. I think it's good to have like some like mindless songs to listen to. And I don't even think we've told the listeners, like, yeah, we both do have master's degrees. We are both fully licensed
Yes.
clinicians, which is like fully licensed, like, what did we have to do? 2 years of
Mm-hmm.
supervision plus
Mm-hmm.
that test and all this other. It was a whole thing. I'm actually on my second master's. So
Hey.
Matt and I enjoy mindless music
So much more
as
now,
well.
especially with COVID. I last year COVID gave me a lot of opportunity for self growth and development and just like professional stuff too. So personal and professional. But now that it's 2021, I'm tired of this COVID shit, man. I'm tired of having thoughts to myself. I'm tired of growing. I want to have some mindless stupid stuff in the background. Like when you were talking earlier about the Britney special on Hulu, it reminded me of when I would tell you about A Teacher on Hulu. And this is before like everything started to culminate in like my anxiety and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, I can watch this and not really be that attached until the first episode. And I was like, wait, this is some crazy shit. And the more I watched it, the crazier it got. And it was like, man, this shit sucks. I'm tired of watching things with mental health issues and finally being able to say, oh, I see this. I see where this is going. I don't want to see where this is going.
Yeah, I feel like that show called A Teacher or whatever, A Teacher, however you pronounce it. I don't know. I thought it was A Teacher. Anyway,
It is.
That show I know I could never watch because I would just get so angry. And so we can't make it. But it is a good example of like just a mindless, something to.
And the worst part about that show is I got into a debate with somebody on Reddit because they were
Matt. No.
It was one-sided. I was responsible and mature and intellectual. This person was trying to defend the female main character and saying like, oh yeah, what about him? He was culpable in this too. And I'm like, bro, dog, yeah, sure. He shouldn't have kissed her. Who set up the dynamics for that to happen? And that was it.
Yeah, he was also in high school.
Yeah.
So
he didn't want to hear that argument. He didn't want to hear that argument.
We can't.
He didn't want to hear that argument. So I had to just give him like some common sense. Like, well, no, I can't even say common sense because again, we went to school for this.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. That is our episode for today, episode 4, I believe. Thank you guys for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed the content that we created. Thank you to those who enjoyed. Oh, hey. I just remember Octopus. I don't remember. Octomoody, that's the name.
Octomoody,
yes.
Just for the end of the episode.
For the viewers who are watching this on YouTube, you can see what Octomoody looks like. Moody looks like in person and on Instagram.
He's mighty. He's mighty. But yes, listeners, Octomoody. Oh, never mind. If you want to see Octomoody, you should check out our Facebook page. We gotta do our spiel, Matt.
Yep.
Our Facebook page, our Instagram page. Please check out our Instagram page. It is YT_playlist. Okay, and
Facebook, we are on there as Your Therapist Playlist. You can go to that page. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, most or all rather of your favorite platforming services. Oh yeah, follow our playlist on Spotify. Again, they are called Anna and Matt's Infinite Playlist. And the other one is called,
I think it's just Your Therapist Playlist.
Yes,
like our Spotify playlist is Your Therapist Playlist.
You're so smart. That's why you went.
I know. But check us out. Check out the Facebook page, Instagram page. I'm trying really hard, to get better at posting things, and I figured out how to put a little music with the lyrics and
Very
pictures
impressive.
on our. Yeah, it's cool on Instagram and Facebook. So like when Matt and I decide upon what songs we're going to be talking about for the week, I post the YouTube videos on Facebook, and now I know how to post the little posts with the lyrics and the music as our story for Facebook, and then as our post for Instagram as well. So it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who may enjoy the clip of Artemis kind of having fun with us today on the episode. We will be back next time, episode 5, with some special stuff, special sauce for you guys.
Yes. Some new things. We have some new things coming along. So, all right, everybody. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.